I equated inertia and mass over here, if you guys remember. So we spoke of net force, and when the net force is 0, we have a concept of inertia, and I equated to mass over here, but I didn't explain why. And that's what we are doing here, explaining mass and inertia, the relationship between them. For that, I have a quick question, a commonsensical one. You have two objects made up of same material kept on the same surface. Which will be more difficult to push? It's a simple question. Okay, I hope you have your answer. Now, what do you think has more inertia? Which of these two objects has more inertia? I have a clue for you guys. Make use of that. Inertia is the tendency of an object to resist any change to its velocity. The question over here is, you can also rephrase this as, which has more tendency to resist the change? Which has more tendency to resist the change? 10 kg, right? Okay. So what does kg mean over here? It deals with mass, is it not? So mass is the property of an object that specifies how much resistance an object exhibits to change in its velocity. So I'm using the definition of, or the idea of inertia to talk about mass. Mass is a inert, the internal property of an object, and it's independent of the object's surrounding and of the method used to measure it. So thus making it a correct scalar quantity. See guys, let me put it this way. Let me make it a bit more simpler and on the board. Mass, we learned it as, something, we can talk about the idea of mass with the help of how much material it is made up of. Right? That's what we have learned when we were kids. How much material object is made up of, that relates to mass. Now we are using the idea of inertia to talk about mass. Using inertia to talk about mass. That's what we are doing here. So it's quite simple. Inertia has to do with how much cranky it gets when someone tries to move it. Say it's already in rest. So it's like how cranky it gets to start moving. Or if it's already moving, how cranky will it get to change in its speed or direction? So basically any change, it will be cranky. Right? That's your inertia. So by default, mass is related to the level of crankiness. More the mass, more the crank. Okay, do you guys agree? More the mass, more the crank. So we can define mass with the help of the crankiness. But so indirectly I'm talking about inertia, guys. And that's what we are doing over here. We are defining mass with the help of inertia. Mass is the property of the object that specifies how much resistance an object exhibits to change in its velocity. Or mass is an inertial or internal property of the object and is independent of the object's surrounding and of the method used to measure. Okay, so this is your old definition. This is the new definition. Mass is the property of an object that specifies how much resistance an object exhibits to change in its velocity. Okay, and thus making it a scalar quantity. Right, guys? So please write what makes it interesting for you.